Shavua Tov, guys. It's me, Rolene Marks, with the Israel Brief, where you come every Monday to Thursday for the news that you will not see in the mainstream media, the news that you don't get to hear about, and you'll find it right here. As always, we are brought to you proudly by these guys, Lay of the Land, and more about where you can find Lay of the Land coming up a little later in the broadcast. It is day 255 of Israel's war with Hamas, which means 255 days that 120 hostages have been held in captivity by Hamas terrorists. So let's take a look at those top stories. Yesterday, the IDF announced that they would be taking tactical pauses from about 5 a.m. in the morning till about 4 p.m. in the afternoon, and this is to let in humanitarian aid. There is a growing need. There is a backlog of humanitarian aid trucks, according to COGAT. That's the unit responsible for humanitarian aid in the army. They say that the United Nations agencies operating on the ground with humanitarian aid have not taken advantage of all the crossings, of the land crossings, allowing that very, very important aid into the Gaza Strip. Now, in a very unusual move, we heard some criticism from Prime Minister Netanyahu for the army. The Prime Minister said it's unacceptable. He was not aware of these tactical pauses. He called them unacceptable. And I was in the south a little earlier today. I was in the town of Sderot. Sderot, many of you will know, is the most bunkered town in the world, where every couple of meters there is a shelter to save you from incoming rockets. You could actually still hear the artillery going, and the IDF have said that even though they are taking tactical pauses in Rafah, the fighting still continues. It was a very, very difficult weekend for Israelis. 11 soldiers fell in combat, and for Israelis, it is a very personal issue. Each soldier is our son, our brother, our husband, our father. Each soldier feels like family to us, and so the loss is felt very, very keenly. Earlier today, the Prime Minister announced that he would be ending his 6-man war cabinet. Now, this was a decision that many were expecting following the resignation of Benny Gantz, who's a centrist politician from the National Unity Party. He's also the former IDF Chief of Staff, as well as the former Defense Minister. They were expecting that this was a move that perhaps the Prime Minister would make. And also this follows demands from the far right, Bezalel Smotrich, the Finance Minister, and National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir, to join that war cabinet. And of course, this would put a massive strain on Israel's international relations. These two politicians are extremely polarizing and are seen as very, very right-wing. And many Israelis would tell you that they find a lot of what they say extremely, extremely precarious and offensive. So this was a move by the Prime Minister kind of to end them pushing to be part of the war cabinet. A short while ago, the Prime Minister, who, as you can see, has had a busy day, met with the United States Special Envoy Amos Hochstein. Hochstein is in Israel. He arrived this morning to try and de-escalate the tensions with Hezbollah on Israel's northern border. Now, as I've been saying for weeks, we have seen continued rocket and drone attacks in the north of Israel that have set fire to huge swaths of northern land, nature reserve, farmlands, kibbutzim, communities. A lot of the communities, the homes have been decimated. There are well over 100,000 internal refugees, displaced people, and the situation is getting steadily more tense by the day. So while we don't have a readout of what was said in the meeting, we do know that Other officials like National Security Advisor Tsahi Hanegbi and Minister of Strategic Affairs Ron Dermer, they were also in the meeting along with other officials. And Hochstein is expected to meet Yair Lapid, the leader of the opposition, a little bit later, as well as Benny Gantz. And last night in his evening address or press conference to the media, Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari, the IDF spokesperson, warned that Hezbollah is trying to draw Israel into a wider escalation. And finally, a poll conducted amongst Israelis have found that at least 60% of Israelis favor the Biden ceasefire proposal, which would see the release of hostages in several stages for a ceasefire. Now, I was in the South. I was actually at a conference a little earlier on today, arranged by the Hostages and Missing Persons Forum to discuss the issue of hostages. It is one thing to hear their stories on television and to see their pictures in the media. It is another thing when those families are sitting right in front of you and you are hearing what their children, their brothers, their sisters are enduring now for 255 days. It is absolutely shattering. And of course, they represent a variety of different communities. Some have siblings or children abducted from the Nova Festival, some from the kibbutzim where they lived, where they lost other family members as well. These family members have put aside what used to be their normal lives, and their entire life is focused towards getting their loved ones home. And for Israelis, and I think you've heard me say this before, today might be the 17th of June, but we are still very much stuck on the 7th of October. We have not moved from the 7th of October. The trauma is still very, very fresh, and you certainly feel it when you go down south, when you are in a town like Sderot, where the citizens of the town, where the police station came under severe attack, where you hear from the mayor, and I recall his words on the 7th of October when he said, when Israelis find out what happened here, they won't even believe. They won't even believe it was so bad. And this is why Israel is at war. We want to prevent this from ever happening again. I don't think any other country would allow for this to happen to their citizens. But the main issue that we have is we want our 120 remaining hostages home now. We want to bring the living home to recover, and we want to bring the dead to rest peacefully with dignity. Right, now it's time for audience question of the day, and it's quite a doozy. It's come from somebody who also prefers to remain anonymous. I totally understand if you want to put your question, but remain anonymous. All you have to do is tell me that, so pop your question in the comment section below. And Anonymous asks, why are international lawyers calling the rescue mission illegal? Excellent question. So we have heard from some international lawyers, people who do have a history of attacking Israel, who have said that because the rescuers, because our brave Yamam, our brave counter-terror operatives went in undercover, they committed what is called perfidy. They were perfidious. You couldn't see who they really were. Seriously, guys? No one's going to tell Israel how we're going to rescue our hostages. Israel is a country where we do not leave our civilians behind. There is nothing illegal about what Israel did. If your nose is out of joint because we rescued 4 hostages successfully and with the awe of the world as they watched on, that is your problem. We are not going to leave any of our citizens behind. And that brings me to the end of today's edition of the Israel Brief. Please don't forget to check out our website at www.layoftheland.online. our YouTube channel right here at the Israel Brief. Click on that big red subscribe button. We are on X at Lay of the Land 5 and Facebook. How could I forget Facebook at Lottel's site? Guys, it's been a long and emotional day. It's also boiling hot here. I'm going to go stick my head in the fridge. You guys take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.